Hey guys, what's going on? Hit Die D6 here. Sorry I haven't posted a video in a while. I'll probably say something about it. I'm going to start posting some Let's Plays of just some like random games. So I'll probably talk about it in the beginning of that, why I haven't been posting any videos lately. Also, sorry for the audio quality on my microphone. I was using a Blue Spark before, but my audio interface broke, so now I'm just using the microphone on my Kraken headset, and it's not particularly good. But anyway, that's not why you're here. You tuned in today to figure out what are the 3 add-ons I cannot live without. And it's actually kind of 4 add-ons, but 2 are kind of the same thing. I'm not sure, but they are for material farming. I use these for farming herbs and minerals, and you can track fish, treasures, stuff like that. But it is going to be Gathermate 2, Gathermate 2 Data, Farm HUD, and then Routes. And you can find them all on the Twitch app. So Farm HUD is this thing in the middle of my screen right now. It basically moves your mini-map from the upper right-hand part of your corner into the center of your entire screen and changes its opacity to 0 so that you can see all the nodes like right there in front of you. It's really good for flying around and finding nodes. If I get on my mount real quick, you can see how it works. All I basically recommend setting on that one, I don't recommend changing any of the base settings except for your keybind to toggle it on and off. I forget what the default is, but it was super inconvenient for me. I think it was shift or something. It was a really bad keybind. So I just made mine number pad 0. Makes it really easy for me to turn on and off my farm HUD. Next, one I cannot live without is Gathermate 2. Now all these 3 add-ons kind of work together. So if it seems like I'm going through them really fast, it's because individually they're not that cool. But what happens whenever you combine the 3 of these, it's going to really improve the amount of materials you gather. And so here in Gathermate 2, you got a couple things you can change. And basically what this does is it will put on your mini-map, which I have mine turned off on my mini-map, and on your map all these nodes where they spawn. So right now I'm looking for mithril ore. That's what I'm going to be farming here. You can see this is where it would all spawn, and you're like, okay, that's cool. If I have this, I can see the nodes and fly around and gather up only where the nodes are, not waste my time here in the center. And if you're catching on to that, then you might already know where all 3 of these are going to combine. But on here, I recommend changing a few settings. On mining nodes, herbalism, fishing, I always put those to only when tracking. Gas clouds, only with profession. That's engineering. And if anybody ever tells you engineers can't make any money, they've never farmed gas clouds. I promise you. Especially like Titan steel farming is really good with a miner engineer. And I'll have a video coming up on that one for sure, eventually. Treasures I always show. Archaeology and timber I never show. Minimap, basically, this is where you can turn on and off the nodes. If you look at my map up here, you can turn on and off the nodes on your minimap. I don't like it because with Farm HUD, it kind of clutters things up. And so I don't really like it on my minimap. I'll go ahead and turn mine off, but I do like mine on my world map except for when I'm questing, so I do come in and toggle it on and off quite a bit. But when I'm farming, I normally keep it on my world map. Now, filters, this is where you can go in and uncheck things that don't like matter, like especially under treasures. Like obviously not all of these treasures are useful, like dark soil, giant clam. Not really, you know, not really stuff you want to track. Ancient mana crystal, everybody's maxed out on ancient mana. If there's a fish you want to ignore, like you don't want it to pop up on your map, that's where you would uncheck it. If you want to ignore something, this is where you go to ignore it. Now, the last one, and the most important one, and where this all comes together, is routes. Routes takes the information from GatherMate 2 and will let you track those nodes on a line and put a line on your mini-map for you to follow. So you can basically wind up farming brain dead and just following a line. It's the best thing. You put some Netflix on your second monitor, maybe watch some House of Cards or something. It's awesome. And so I'm going to come here and show you how to make a new route. And so I'll name this mining. Make sure our zone is correct, burning steps. And I'm going to be looking for gold, mithril, and true silver. Now, I don't really need gold or true silver. I'm here for the mithril, but I'm here. I might as well check them off. And I'm going to go to create route. And now you'll see I got all these crazy lines all over my mini-map. And that's because if I go to my main map, that's what it looks like. It's not a very good route, you're probably thinking to yourself, but that's because we have more steps. So we'll go down and find our route. Now you'll see I have a lot of routes in here already. A lot of them are just treasure routes. Since I am a rogue, I do track treasures when I'm an outlaw spec. And that's a nice way to make some cash, though people are catching on to it. I don't really think they sell that well. So if we go to the burning steps, you'll see here's the one we already made. We're gonna come in. The first thing we're gonna change is line color. I changed the line color normally to match whatever I am mining, so that gives me like mithril's white, so I'm not gonna make it white, but kind of this blue tint. That's fine. Maybe I'll drag it a little in further toward white, but like an off-white. I like to make the lines on my map as thick as possible, and then my mini-map, I make them about halfway. Now this is the important part here. We want to cluster any nodes within 40 yards, and then we're going to optimize our route. Now this will make your game freeze for a second. In zones with more nodes, it will take quite a while. Like up to 3 minutes I've had it take. And that's it. That's basically how I use these add-ons. I'm sure they get a little more complex, but I'll show you how it works here. So with the combination of these three working together, now you have your HUD in your farm HUD in the center, and your routes line also overlaying over top of your mini map. And it's getting its data from GatherMate 2, and that's kind of how all three of these work together. And it's really, really, really efficient. Like I promise you, if you only use one or two of these add-ons, using all three of these together will most certainly increase the amount of materials you're getting. Especially routes. If you're not used to using routes, you'd be surprised how much more materials you get. And you would think that it takes too much time to hit every node in the zone, but by hitting every possible node in the zone, I think I think you get more materials. Personally, I think you get more materials. You're constantly respawning. Now, something I personally do that a lot of you may want to do, I'm going to go ahead and delete this route, is if you're a double gatherer, you don't have to only track one type of node. Flip the map so you guys can see what this looks like. I'm gonna go and well, let me make it so you guys can see the herbs. I have it so they only pop up when they're tracking. I also have my routes to only pop up when I'm tracking the materials in them. I forgot to mention that. That's just under options, I believe. Auto show hide. Only when tracking. And so I'll just go ahead. I'll probably make the line red this time for Fire Bloom. Cluster and foreground. And now I have an optimized double gather route. And especially if you're a double gatherer, you're going to see an increase, because normally online you can only find routes for one material or the other, but this gives you a guaranteed optimized route for farming both herbs and mining nodes. Now this doesn't work in every zone. You're in Outland and in the Grand farming Corium. Well, Corium's going to be worth so much compared to the herbs available in that zone that it's not even going to be worth bothering to stop for herbs and pick them up, right? You're just going to want to pick up the Corium and the Adamantite, I believe is how you pronounce it. But basically, the node that Corium spawns from. So I don't recommend double gather in every zone. But if you are a double gatherer like me, and you want to do some of these kind of lesser farmed zones, I find that you can make a lot of steady gold, because you'll usually be one of only a few people with these items on the auction house. And that's all for today, guys. I'm going to go ahead and start my farming for this evening. Farming the Burning Steps here, and then I'll probably move on to, well, I'm probably going to make a video on the next farm, so I'm not going to give it away, but you'll see in the next 1 or 2 videos I post here where the next farm I'm going to after this is. Stay tuned for more gold farming content. That's probably what's going to be coming out a lot since raiding is pretty much done and there's no need to do any main content. I'm also going to be doing Let's Plays, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe.